The NFL draft is about 30 days away, and we're winding down the NFL free agency period. So what is your team's biggest needs post-free agency? All week, we're going to go through every division in the whole entire NFL to let you know what your favorite team's biggest needs are. Today, I'm going to do the AFC and NFC North. Let's get into it. It's draft season. It is upon us. It's one of my favorite times of the year. And I like this segment we've been doing all week. We're on a Tuesday edition of NFL Team Needs. What are your team's biggest needs post-free agency? And what are you going to look for to grab in the NFL draft in the early rounds? So, like I said in the intro, we're going to do the NFC and AFC North today. So, of course, we're going to start off with the AFC. We're going to get into the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Steelers. We want to talk about what their biggest needs are, and then we'll get into the NFC North as well. I think both divisions are really highly competitive. I wouldn't say that, they're one of more competitive divisions in each conference, and I think they're getting better. There's a couple of teams you kind of shaky on, the Bears and the Browns in particular, but I think all the other three teams are definitely highly viable and definitely competitive, and will definitely bring you a good game each and every week. So how can they improve is the question, getting into our draft talk. So like I said, we're doing the AFC North first and foremost. We're talking the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and Bengals. So what are these teams' biggest needs? They've addressed some things in free agency, and they still got some glaring holes in their roster. So what were those best to be had at in a draft, especially in the first round? So let's start off. Let's go top to bottom. Who picks first? So the Browns have the number 2 pick in the draft. And I think their biggest needs are clearly quarterback. We don't know what we're doing with Deshaun Watson. He's definitely going to be out this year, most likely. Definitely not playing the start of the season, so you can't go into this season without a quarterback. That's still a question there. With number 2 overall pick, you would think the likely idea would be go after one, but we'll see. I think edge rusher is the next need. They want to pair somebody up with Myles Garrett. And the interior D-line, they haven't had a good interior D-line in a couple of years. Some stalwarts in the middle that stop the run, so I think they can address that as well with a heavily touted internal defensive line draft in this particular 2025 rendition. So those are their 3 needs. So what would I go after if I'm the Browns here? Clearly, I will go after the quarterback, but I have a sneaky suspicion. It is just my foretelling here is what's going to end up happening, right? I think that, clearly Aaron Rodgers is not in the mix for the Browns. He's the only other, him and Russell Wilson, the only other viable quarterbacks out there, veteran-wise, they can be had. So what I think the Browns are going to end up doing is they're going to take Abdul Carter with the number 2 pick. They're going to go after edge rusher first. And then they're going to bring in a veteran by the name of Russell Wilson, most likely, once he's not taken up by the Steelers or the Giants or whoever have you that still needs a quarterback. And I think that they're going to roll with him for the interim until they get Deshaun back. I think they want to try to get something out of this $230 million that they spent. So once he's finally fully healthy, they want to get him back on the field one more time. So I think that they're going to do a stopgap situation rather than drafting the succession, which I think is a mistake in all honesty. But especially going after having a number 2 overall pick, you don't have that every day. So I think that you should go into the idea of getting the future, but I think they're going to draft Abdul Carter. That's what I think they're going to do. And the quarterback won't be on the table, at least early rounds for them. And I think that's what they're going to end up doing, and they're going to roll with Abdul Carter and get an edge rusher in the first round. So next is the Bengals with the 17th overall pick. And they have a lot of the needs, and I think it's all on defense. I think that they need to really go heavy into defensive investments in the draft and all the draft picks that they have as much as they possibly can, bring in talent to help that defense, because you can't have a shootout every week. You just can't. You can't win by shootout every week. It's just not going to work out for you. So I think edge rusher is clearly an issue with Trey Hendricks being unhappy and them letting go of Sam Hubbard. I think cornerback is another issue they need to address. And then they got another linebacker, Jermaine Pratt, who requested a trade, so they need a linebacker as well. So with those top 3 picks, I think they're most glaring in I guess you can say, a most needed position, because this is a pass rush league. I think they go out the edge rusher first. And at the 17th pick, I think based upon my first round mock, I got James Pierce Jr. falling to them. I think James Pierce Jr. will trade his college colors for burnt orange, I guess they can say Bengal orange, and be a Bengal come 2025 draft in April. So I think they're going to go after James Pierce Jr. if I had to bet, and getting that edge rushing threat off the edge, coupling him hopefully with Trey Hendrickson if he does not sit out, if he does not get a new deal. They got a whole lot of issues going on there. But I do believe that they're going to pair James Pierce up with Trey Hendrickson, hopefully, or if they have to trade Trey Hendrickson for some reason, they can bring him in and be the number one rusher for that team. So I think that's what they do with their first round. Next up is the Steelers. And I think the Steelers' main needs are quarterback, running back, and interior O-line. First and foremost, the quarterback. I mean, they have to really get serious about having a long-term solution at quarterback here soon. I know this Aaron Rodgers talk is all the buzz, right? But I believe that you need to honestly and truly get serious about the succession plan of the quarterback. So whether Aaron Rodgers is there or not this year, it doesn't matter. I think you should definitely go after quarterback with your first pick. With the 21st pick, I think they should draft that Jackson Dart. I think that the kid from Ole Miss, I really think he shined in the late part of his season and in the Senior Bowl as well as the Combine. I think he has the poise and the confidence to play the position. He has all the talent, the arm strength, and the accuracy to do it. I think if you let him sit behind Aaron or whoever's going to be the quarterback, Russell Wilson, whoever you want to, kind of come to terms with is your bridge. I think that you definitely should bring him along, off the 1 year, 2 year, sitting plan and allow him to come in and be your long-term solution. I think you can get a running back in the interior line in later rounds. So I think you should definitely address the quarterback in the first round and getting Jackson Dart, because I do believe Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward will be gone by then at 21. So I would do that for sure. Getting a quarterback in Jackson Dart, and that's your future, no matter who your current situation plan is with Aaron Rodgers or whoever. I think you should definitely do that. Next up is the Ravens. The Ravens are picking at 27. Now, I think they don't have a whole lot of glaring needs. They picked up DeAndre Hopkins in free agency, so they got a number one receiver on the outside. They coupled with Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman and those two tight ends and Likely and Andrews. So I believe that on the defensive side, they have a need at safety by letting Marcus Williams go. I got a need at edge rusher. They've been cycling in and out edge rushers with David Ojabo and a few others. And they just haven't been the dominant force that they need from a pass rush perspective. So I think the secondary need is a dominant edge rusher, a guy that can really constantly and consistently get to the quarterback. So I think that's the second need. And third will be cornerback. Marlon Humphrey. All those M's confusing me. Marlon Humphrey's getting long in the tooth. They brought Nate Wiggins in last year. I think they need another one. They lost, I think, Brandon Stevens in free agency. So I think another corner to ultimately be the succession plan for Marlon Humphreys when he's done will be the third need. So if I had to be a bet man at 27, I think Nick Imawari from South Carolina falls to them at 27. I think Malachi Starks goes first, and I think Nick Imawari will be there at 27 for them to be had. Pairing him up with Cal Hamilton, I think that's the best fit and the best player available at that time at 27. So I think they should go after him and pair him up with Cal Hamilton. And like I said, he replacing, and I think it's upgrade, in my opinion, from losing Marcus Williams to free agency. So I think that they pair him up and get that safety room together and legit. They can maybe get another corner in the edge in the later rounds or trade back up and get those positions solidified. But I think the top need will be safety, and they pair those two up. Let Cal Hamilton roam in the box and let Nick play the deep halves and deep quarters and deep thirds of the defense with his 6'3" frame and his rangy, long speed. I think that he definitely will be an asset to the Ravens in 2025 for sure. I really like that kid and I like his film. So I think that'll round it out. So the quarterback should be the move for the Browns, but it's not. It's going to be edge rusher, quarterback for the Steelers, edge rusher for the Bengals, and the Ravens should get a safety. All right, so moving on to the NFC North. Very competitive division, and I think they're only getting better. Ben Johnson is coming in to hopefully solidify their last team that needs a solid coach in that division. So it should be a really, really highly competitive. It might be the best division in football in 2025. We'll see, barring injury. So in getting to the idea of what they need, right? Again, we'll start at the bottom. The Bears are picking at 10, right? I think their needs are edge rusher, running back, and interior D lineman. They did get an interior D lineman in the free agency move. They do need somebody to couple with DeAndre Swift, maybe moving off him soon, and Roschon Johnson make a combo platter there in running back. But I think their top need is edge rusher for my money. I think that should address early with the number 10 pick. And I think if they are picking in 10 and they stay there, I think Mike Green will be available. I think Mike Green will be a great edge rusher in addition to Montez Sweat. And I think that's the move, and that's the modus operandi of what people are doing in the league now. It's a pass rush league, it's a passing league, and a pass rush league. You got to get to the quarterback. So you're having two or more edge rushers to cycle in and bring in to constantly get after the quarterback is paramount in this league right now. So I think that you bring in a secondary edge rusher to pair with Montez Sweat, and I think Mike Green will be the perfect fit at number 10. So Mike Green go to the Bears at number 10 for my money. Next up will be the Packers. The Packers needs an offensive tackle. They let their left tackle go. Bakhtiari left, and then they succeeded his backup by letting him go in free agency as well. So I think offensive tackle was their primary need. They also had needed cornerback. They let Eric Stokes go, who's the other outside corner, and Jair Alexander is kind of unhappy there for some reason. So if they're talking about trading Jair and they lost Eric Stokes, I think it's a glaring need of corner here for the Green Bay Packers, and as well as safety. I think they need another safety to fill in for that group to honestly and truly, fill in that role. And the edge rusher could be another one too. Edge and safety I was kind of torn back and forth with, but I think either safety or edge would be the third need for this Green Bay Packers team to help that pass rush. So if I had to pick a number one need, I would definitely say corner. I think they do very well by getting mid-round, I guess you can say, O-linemen and developing them well. They have been that way for the last 10 to 15 years from my memory. So I think they do draft and develop O-linemen very well, and they don't have to spend a high draft number to get him. And I think the more glaring need is to fill that cornerback position, especially with on one side Jair being unhappy and Eric Stokes being gone. I think they need to bring in another corner to solidify that secondary. So I think if they're picking at 23, I think Maxwell Harrison would be their pick. He ran really well. He showed out his athleticism in the combine and on tape. I think that he will be their pick at 23. So they picking him to succeed Eric Stokes and maybe be the number one corner if Jair Alexander is traded. So I would say that they definitely should dress corner, then O-lineman, and then safety or edge in the third interim would be my guess, in my estimation, educated guess for them to pick in the 2025 draft. Next up would be the Vikings, and they're picking right behind them at 24. So I think their needs are edge rusher, safety, because Harrison Smith is not getting any younger, and cornerback. I think they need a solid number one corner on that side. They got a couple of guys over there. They re-signed a slot guy, and I think they also re-signed Isaiah Rodgers, an outside guy. But I think they need a number one outside corner guy to fill in this roster as well. But if I had to pick and really hone in on the idea of what they are going to ultimately pick, would be I would honestly say that I think it might be. It's going to be a hot take here, but I think that thinking back about where they picking at 24, I don't think an edge rusher or safety or corner will necessarily be to their liking unless they jumped up and got Nick Amawari first. But I will have to honestly truly say that O-lineman might be the move here. O-lineman might be the move, and they might get it. Tyler Booker might be there. In all honesty, it's kind of a pivot from the list. I think they might go ahead and get interior O-lineman to solidify that line based upon the fact that they've had issues with O-line last season, which ultimately cost them in the playoffs. So I would say O-lineman probably be first, and then edge rusher, then safety, then cornerback. But yeah, I would say that that's definitely a move that they could do to kind of go with Tyler Booker. If they did go edge, I would say Donovan Izaraki will be the next guy as the edge rusher. So those two, I'm kind of torn between the two. If Tyler Booker's there, you have to pick him. I mean, he's just one of the best interior linemen in the draft. But if they want to go edge, I will go Donovan Izaraku. I guess that's how you pronounce it. So I would definitely use Donovan or Tyler Booker in getting those particular guys in. But yeah, of course, Nick Amawari would be the next guy on the list. But yeah, I would definitely consider him, and maybe Trey Amos as well for cornerback. But I definitely think that I'm torn between drafting Tyler Booker or Donovan as an edge rusher to go to pair with Dallas Turner and Van Ginkel. All right. So last but not least is the Lions, picking at 28. And I think they're very glaring need. They don't have a lot. I have a lot of needs. I think they can benefit in the middle rounds from the interior O-lineman to as depth and a wide receiver to go along with Amon-Ra St. Brown and James Williams. But I think that edge rusher is again the theme of the podcast episode here. I think that edge rusher pairing up with Aiden Hutchinson, especially him coming back slow off that leg injury, gruesome leg injury he suffered last year. I think pairing him up with another edge rusher will be the best thing. And this is a good one too, because I think that if the Vikings don't take Donovan Izaraku, I think they should take him. If they don't get him, I think Shamar Stewart is the next guy up. I think either Donovan Izaraku or Shamar Stewart will be the guy they pick at that 28 spot. So I think that's the best and most glaring need that they have at the moment, and they will ultimately benefit from that dual pass rush that's getting after the quarterback in 2025. So that's my list, man. Like I said, the Packers will go with a cornerback, and the Bears will go with an edge rusher. The Lions will go with an edge rusher, and the Vikings will either go interior O-line or edge rusher. This depends. This depends on how the draft falls. I think they, as I thought about it, right as I talked about it, I think the edge rusher and O-line, interior O-line is both glaring needs. So I would definitely go after one of those two things. But edge rusher, if that's on the board, go after Donovan Izaraku, and you'll get your edge rusher to pair with Downtown Turner, who you drafted last year. So boom, there's a list. So let me know comments how you feel about this, if you're AFC or NFC North fan of any of those teams, and how you feel about those needs and who you think you might get, how you like my picks, you didn't like my picks, whatever the case may be. As always, subscribe to the channel. Let us know how we're doing out there. And so you'll never miss an upload. And here's our socials. If you need to reach us in any social media fashion, here's a squad. Coach Mike Dub, Alex, and Robert's social media links are here. And here's the podcast links for the network if you need to reach us anytime in F space. And as always, man, I am Coach Defense. We'll be back with another video tomorrow. And look out Friday at 3 p.m. for our mock draft 1.0. We're going to record our mock draft on Friday and drop that at 3 o'clock. Let you know exactly how we feel the first round is going to land in our 1.0 version of the mock draft for 2025. But as always, like I said, like, comment, subscribe to the video. And until then, you always got to step up to lock it down.